you may not know the name of the character who played in Disney Channel's hit television program Hannah Montana. Her name was Miley Cyrus. She's the daughter of the country singer Billy Ray Cyrus. As she grew up, she had a real fascination for music, song, dance, and acting. She went to a play with her father one day and saw a wonderful play, and she was so moved by what she saw that she said to her father, "That's what I want to do for my life." And so they got her an agent, and before long she managed to find a role with Disney Channel, and she became a hit, a popular singer very quickly. But now, as she's gotten through her teenage years, she's making an adjustment to becoming more of an adult. And with that adjustment, a lot of changes are taking place. That's difficult for any teenager, but especially one who's under the spotlight and one who has won such attention and fortune as Miley Cyrus. The tabloids and news magazines are talking very much about the kinds of things that she's doing to shock her image recently. She's grown up with a Christian reputation, her parents being Christian and being concerned for her Christian faith. They've taken steps to try to protect her from the worldly influences of Hollywood. But, as is evident, as is almost to be expected, there are occasions where she stumbles and makes perhaps some poor choices. And she herself has admitted as much. Predicting where Miley Cyrus is going from here will be anyone's guess as she tries to make a transition to an actress and to perhaps an even greater popular singer. We may have a hard time predicting the course of life for a young woman like that, or most any teenager, but predicting the course of one by the name of Cyrus is what the Scriptures themselves would do for us. In fact, Isaiah the prophet would speak of the coming of one who would come over 150 years after Isaiah prophesied of his arrival. So the Scriptures come to a point now here in Isaiah chapter 44 where we have something of a climax. Beginning with the 40th chapter, Isaiah has been talking about God's work of comforting His people, His encouragement to them that in spite of the coming upheavals that they will face with the arrival of the Babylonians, the destruction and decimation of their city, the deportation of their peoples to a distant country, God gives a word of comfort to His elect, to His people, who will go through all these different challenges. And so Isaiah gives a word of comfort to them, and one of the things that Isaiah has been doing is combating the idols of the Babylonians who were yet to arrive on the scene, and of the idols that were around them in their nation already. Isaiah argues that the Lord alone is God. And he continues to make that case. We've seen already that God demonstrates His glory by being able to explain the course of history. He's able to interpret the meaning of history that has already occurred, telling us what has happened and why it has happened. And what is more, He's able to tell us what is yet to come. Now we have to ask ourselves this question. If the Lord knows what is coming in the future, how can that be possible? Is it because He is making an estimation based on the probabilities of all the random acts of chance that could occur, and He sees that more than likely this is what will happen in the future? Or is it because God is able to just see the future, know what's going to happen, because there is already kind of a set course of events? If that is the case, how did the course of events get set? If God Himself did not set that course of events? What Isaiah, I think, implies is that the Lord is able to tell us what the future holds because He is the one who has formed and ordered that future. He is the Lord. And He distinguishes Himself from the idols and the soothsayers, the fortune tellers, by the fact that He is able to tell with specificity what the future holds. He does that because He is the one who has set the future in motion. He is the one who controls the future. He brings it all about. And what we will see here is that this Lord, who has ordained a plan for all of human history and works all things after the counsel of His own will, is one who works all things for the sake of His church. The movements of history, the rise of nations, the fall of other nations, the rise of different rulers themselves, is all directed by God for the sake of His church, for the advance of His kingdom in the world. It all fulfills His own sovereign purpose in the course of history. And Isaiah reminds us of that once again here in the 44th chapter, beginning with the 24th verse, where he sets before us once more the glory of God as the foundation for interpreting history, as the foundation for interpreting ourselves and our place in God's world. So when we today look at the world around us and see so many things that are hard to predict, things that disturb and cause us to wonder what will become of us, we can look at texts like this and come away with the understanding, with the knowledge that the Lord is in control of history, that He governs all things and works them for the benefit of His church. And so we need not be afraid. We are in good hands. God will work all these things out. And so the uncertainties in your life, the dark days that you might perceive to be before you in terms of economic situations or peace or what have you, it's all in the hands of one who's sovereign and in control, working all things after the counsel of His own will. Isaiah begins by reminding us of who it is that speaks to Israel. It's not just one of the many gods out there in the world today. It's not Isaiah himself, a religious genius who in some ways has some perception into the future. No, it's the Lord, your Redeemer, who formed you in the womb. With this description of God, he begins with a concept that he's been introducing now to the book of Isaiah, this concept of a Redeemer, as God being the Redeemer of His people. We will find this word being repeated throughout this section here, particularly in the 44th chapter, on through the text into the 45th chapter as well. God is the Redeemer of His people. In verse 23, He is the one who redeemed Jacob and displays His glory in Israel.